academia sure is busy. But...
Traveler, Paimon.
Sino! It's been so long since we last saw you!
Welcome back to Sumeru City. So...
Oh, nothing in particular. Paimon just...
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was at a group dinner.
Really? You were thinking...
Indeed. You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always rice to meet stew again.
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember.
All right. Here's your 500 mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only five.
Hey, 500 mora is still a lot of snacks to Paimon.
All right. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now. My mind is focused on work, which is why I didn't complete the joke at first.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I decided, on reflection, to handle this one myself.
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you, and then when you're done, we can, you know...
Such enthusiasm. Are you worried I'll forget about treating you to some sweets if you're not around to remind me?
What? No! All right, was it really that obvious?
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine idea. You are the heroes of Sumeru. It makes perfect sense to work together. All right, follow me.
Come on, Traveler, let's go! The world is full of lost ballads just waiting to be rediscovered. Wouldn't gliding be faster?
Do you see him? The old man flare.
Oh, is he the one you...
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former...
Huh? Sino's team...
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot of gardening, shopping, and wine. What sort of person targets an old retiree?
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, Sino. Now who do we have here? Hold on, let me think. A flying fairy dressed in white? A youth who does not seem to hail from this land? My goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon. I've heard all about what you've done for Sumeru.
Wow, looks like we're really fit.
I've told him about you before. You are my friends, after all. That's right. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus suddenly...
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an old man like me?
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. Wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
Clearly, this person must be desperate for Mora.
10 million more. What a... I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes in my garden.
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler, Paimon?
Paimon's ready too!
All right, take a look. Do you see anything suspicious? Very good. The paper has a rather rough texture. It's not the typical kind you see in most books.
Another thing is, some of these strokes look kind of blurry. Could there be an issue with the ink?
Possibly. And I bet the paper has something to do with it.
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's very coarse-grained. Almost as if it's made from some sort of plant matter.
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the academia, but the ink is nothing special. Just regular black ink that gets a blue tinge when applied to paper.
So do we think the culprit has a connection with the academia or not? Wait, check this out! Looks like this part got wet at some point.
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a colored liquid, not plain water. It also looks like it was wiped off.
A colored liquid, so... tea?
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to Arof. There are some things I'll need him to take care of.
Sure, I'll play you another tune, but it'll cost you an apple. Come on, Traveler, let's go! The world is full of lost ballads just waiting to be rediscovered.
Mahamatra Sino. Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the academia. Somebody young and strapped for cash. Oh, one last thing. I'd start your investigation by taking a look at the cafes in the city.
Oh, of course! You think the culprit...
They do look like coffee stains. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the letter is written on a type of scent.
Ah, of course! Yes, like they sell in the gift shops.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate.
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of...
Will do.
Great thinking, Sino! So, where do we think the culprit's at right now? Yeah, they've probably been lying low at home waiting to see how Cyrus reacts.
You're right, Paimon.
Really? Which part?
The culprit's approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go to the Matra doesn't mean they know what he'll do next. So, like you said, they need to wait and see. And crucially, the culprits said they'd be watching the professor's every move.
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What are you doing?
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about. What threat letter?
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden. There are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Arav. Whoever followed us.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going down when Mahamatra Sino shows up, right? So I got a little curious. What's the big deal?
You smiled when Arav left.
Is smiling a crime now?
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off with a wet cloth. Closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because you already live here. The cafe was a red herring all along. You had to be somewhere where you could monitor.
You can't pin this on me!
Really? The innocent have no Your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never—
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price. Now come with me.
Over quickly. Sino already caught the...
You're telling me. 1 minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arav already on his way back to meet up with Sino. Looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after...
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so fast!
The culprit's name is Uraka, a 16-year-old student in the Rataoish Darshan.
Huh?
16? Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 6.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously!
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal life. What the devil drove him down this path?
We question the culprit regarding...
Oh, just spit it out.
Very well. It's our understanding that Araka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra tutoring to improve his grades, but developed down on his luck. He went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement. They mentioned that he's always arguing about his tomato plants with some old woman on the...
Some old woman on the street? Goodness gracious.
Is this
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just...
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the...
Araka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert. Araka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other projects since his retirement. And given your advanced age, he thought you'd be an easy target to blackmail.
Oh, Araka. I'm at a loss for words. I'm so angry I don't know where to start.
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor Cyrus has never embezzled a mora in his life.
Arav, you'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Araka again later. I need you to deliver a few firm fistfuls to him on my behalf.
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus, but I'm afraid that course of
Professor, there's no need to be childish about this.
Oh, come on. I was clearly joking.
Okay. Where does this go from here?
The Academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about the professor's obsession with tomatoes and some old woman on the street, there could be a slander case here. The Matra will continue to investigate.
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? Mind your... You seem confused. Oh, don't... Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision based on some groundless rumor he heard. Besides, I didn't actually hand over any Mora to him. The whole thing sounds a lot worse than it is. All it costs me is a little reputational damage. That's all.
Please rest assured, Professor, that the Academia will issue a fair and reasonable...
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious conversation with the boy's parents. Their family lives in the city, yes?
Correct.
We looked into the family. Both parents are merchants, and they're often away on business.
Oh, what a mess. You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being if we have to show them how serious this situation is.
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Araka's punishment. You can hold on to the letter for now. Just make sure to return it within a couple of days.
Oh, so you'll be able to close the case in 2 days?
Give or take. Cases like this are quick to resolve.
Very good. Well, thank you for all your help. Perhaps we can all go for a meal together. Oh, my treat, of course.
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but I have a prior commitment. Enjoy the meal, everyone.
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. But Sino, you have to come. You found the culprit at record speed, and I owe you for that. Ah, and isn't Tainari in town at the moment? Bring him along, too.
Wait, you mean Tainari's in the city?
He is. Tainari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the Academia to help out. Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an invitation to Tainari. Did you do something to offend Sir Nephis?
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offends me all the time. It's never the other way around. Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tainari. I'll head over to the tavern with the go on! Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hist back when I was still teaching. And if you don't, it was students at the time. They'll tell you what it was like, won't they?
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. It wrought havoc on my poor tail, so I didn't exactly keep up to date with what was going on at the Academia. Most of what I know, I heard from Sino after the fact.
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement. He used to be far stricter, and was especially known for being extremely principled.
Wow, it's hard enough to stay true.
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time.
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa.
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer.
Oh, believe me, back when she was a student.
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take advantage.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not enough, order some more. After all your help today, treating you to dinner is the least I can do.
I thought I heard some familiar voices. Ah, and Sir Cyrus is here as well.
Oh, Kave, it's been a while. Zahahadi was talking about you last month. How have you been?
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking very well, sir. I'm glad to see...
Have you eaten yet?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late... I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard some voices I recognized, I thought I'd come and say hello. So what's the occasion, anyway? Some sort of celebration?
Consolation.
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there. My whole time as a student, I've never heard of anything remotely like that.
I can't believe how young the guy is. What are his parents going to think?
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash and ill-advised decisions. But still, this boy has some nerve. Just look at what he wrote. Oh, it makes my blood boil.
Wow, yeah. Jeez.
I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. And then he just...
If this were my son, he'd get the scolding of a lifetime. Oh.
Luckily, I'm also an extreme.
Kave! You're...
Coming. I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now.
Oh, cute, eh?
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk home to burn some of it off.
Thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tainari and I will bring you some homemade herbal tea next time. It'll do wonders for your sleep.
Well, I look forward to that. In fact, could I trouble you to bring a little extra for the other old folks?
No problem at all. I'll pack some up and...
I'll see you all later.
Good night, Professor. Don't let those tomatoes keep you up too late.
Hey, my tomatoes are serious business. I am not about to be beaten by Zaha Hadid. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children. I bid you all a good night.
Take care! Have a safe trip home!
All right. Now, we finally have some us time.
What do you mean, us time?
Well, I was talking with Tainari and Kale, and since we all have some free time, we thought we could all go camping together. Think of it as our way of welcoming you back to Sumeru.
Camping? Oh, that sounds fun! Paimon's in! Wait, no! That's my job! You don't have to play the hero when you're out with us.
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow after... No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip.
You got it! We'll be...
Great. Then we'll see you tomorrow.
Time to set off! Let's head to the southeast of Gandharvaville and meet up with the others!
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually.
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together.
You got it! Dinner's on us tonight!
I hope I can contribute too. The other Forest Watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago. I'm really looking forward to giving them a try.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us. I'll...
Wow, camping with a Forest Watcher is the way to go! They think of everything! And even if they don't, they can improvise!
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So?
Well, there's been some high points and low...
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought...
A valuable suggestion. Just don't
all I wanted was to recommend...
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable.
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. Could it be she foresaw what shall soon come to pass? My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Oh, drat. But this isn't over.
Ugh, this... We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and... There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks the...
True. But it's also the closest to the water, if there are any sleep...
Well, that's no good.
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King Deshret's mausoleum.
Excellent. Then this tent will be an...
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue?
Always. Oh, it smells so good. Paimon's drooling.
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's time to add the seasoning. How do you like your skewers? Well done? Medium? Rare?
Wait, what? Isn't that just for steaks?
Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things too.
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants theirs well done.
Ugh, Oh, that was so delicious.
I ate a lot too.
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon.
Tonight, I show you mercy. Our si-
Good night.
Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon. Try it.
Paimon can't even lift that thing.
Fair enough. You sure you don't want it?
Yeah, Paimon's sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest in the night, Paimon will be here to take care of the traveler.
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. But right now, it's time to rest. Sleep well and sweet dreams.
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there? Could you come outside for a sec?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
What? Who is it? Oh, what time do you call this? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! Oh, hey them, Kave! What are you doing here? It's the middle of the night!
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on our hands.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and Sino, I deemed it essential to inform you all.
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Huh? Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on?
They are. And so are the fruits.
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Sino's group was drinking last night.
Do tell.
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the town. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least I...
Sounds like...
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus. He was asking for 10 million mora.
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes.
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will make of it. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen before. Really caught my eye. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing.
Interesting.
What?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire. It bears a striking resemblance to...
Whose emblem?
It's the emblem.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right, so we went looking for you. This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tainari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. But the Forest Watchers told us that you'd gone camping. Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Sino. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few words, and then he ran off.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about? The Temple of...
Something's up, huh? Give me a second. Let...
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it simply, it's an organization that has existed in Sumeru for over 1,000 years. These days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for the custody and disposal of information and documents not fit for public dissemination. At least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially a vestigial institution nowadays. There's an office with their name on it, but it's functionally obsolete. Historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to... By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region, nor do they use any symbols connected with the desert folk.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake? Wow.
It's possible. The real question is, why? My guess is they're covering something up.
So, how do you know all this? Sounds like some pretty top secret stuff.
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept the pay raise even after he resigned.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took the chance to read all the top secret documents while you were acting Grand Sage, huh?
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office, I would respond that that's a perfectly normal part of any job.
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence appear on a threat letter from an Academia student to Cyrus? The student's only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the desert.
You said you ran into Sino, yes?
Yep, he ran off.
Given that Cyrus is involved, still...
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this emblem can't be good, and sure to stir up trouble. We should pay a visit to the Academia.
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office. You can ask him to tell you what he knows. The more information we have, the better prepared we'll be for whatever happens there.
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the emblem has to be part of a bigger conspiracy.
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep an eye out for Sino and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me. We'll go after Sino.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field. Here we are. This is the place.
Huh, we might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Sino moves fast. If he was here, he's probably long gone by now. I know that voice. Is that Tainari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness, whatever is going on tonight?
We're looking for Sino. So, he's already been here.
Yes, not long. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and would you believe it? He's gone. Goodness knows where to. It must have alarmed Sino, because he took off in an awful hurry after that. He never did explain what this was all about. How serious is it?
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home... Oh, it sure doesn't sound good.
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to extort Cyrus?
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field in complete silence. He had a piece of paper clutched in his hand, and he looked lost in thought. I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. If Sino hadn't happened to visit him that day, he'd probably still be holding on to that thing. After seeing the letter, Sino told him to contact the Corps of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation. Eventually, he relented, after much persuasion from Sino.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange. When we saw him, he seemed pretty okay with the idea of the kid getting his just desserts.
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the Academia. That's why Sino was so insistent that he report the matter to the...
So Cyrus initially hoped to...
Oh, dear. What on earth? Oh, I almost forgot. Sino left...
Thank you.
What does it say? Let My friends, this is a rather complicated state of affair. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose more than that. I ask you to understand and accept that I had to act alone at this stage. Don't come after me.
Yep, that sounds like Sino. Thank you, Professor. Please do not worry. We will do all we can to protect both Sino and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, let's head to the Academia and regroup.
Wouldn't gliding be faster?
Please show me your credentials before borrowing books.
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I guess you lost their trail.
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Sino got there before us, but he was long gone by the time we arrived.
He didn't say where he was going?
No, he left us a letter and told us not to go after him.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Sino. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain details were clear enough to confirm a match.
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire Academia collection, and that book was the only one with a record of the motif.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was well educated.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Core of 30 and review the city. Also, Nephis admitted that the true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. They retreated. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization.
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge.
Not only that, but they managed to...
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Sino.
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is in all likelihood where Cyrus went.
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why don't we send someone else?
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this ominous feeling that if we don't catch up to them soon...
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master? Well,
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Sino leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of Caravan Rebat. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Alhaitham and Kaveh, the Temple of Silence is involved. The Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but those actions are nonetheless a stain on our legacy. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective. Now is the time for action.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation...
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the others... everyone.
need our help? Whatever you need?
Really? Wonderful. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Alhaitham, Tainari, you are planning to go into the desert.
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay.
Well, if you're sure... Okay. But be careful.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tainari. Hopefully we can catch up with Sino before it's too late.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already. But we still have a shot. Let's take it.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Rebat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should...
Hold on. Look over there.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day, but still.
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Sino.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll go get ready.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me?
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to...
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation. And I'd rather not involve anyone else if I can help it.
Takes a special kind of person to get Sino chasing them all the way out to Caravan Rebot. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumeru's most wanted or something? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to see you. Actually, seeing all of our friends...
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Rebot on business. We ran in... Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few supplies. That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
Sino, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the cave. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll be able to...
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right, he'll be doing everything he can.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this.
Sounds like this is...
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past our village. You may as well ask if anyone there has seen him.
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a way to repay you.
Ah, come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy a round of drinks next time we're all in the city or something.
That's a deal.
All right, so, you all set?
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you again for your help.
All right, then we'll leave you to it. Just remember...
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear up.
Go on.
So, after you left the campsite, we had a longer talk.
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Silence question.
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis, the original founder of the Temple of Silence. Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. Later, I met the professor, and he brought me to Sumeru City. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots and realized there was more to this case than mere extortion. I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never seen it, or because my memory fails me, it's hard to say.
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for Alhaitham's diligence during his time as acting Grand Sage.
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh, maybe his connection to the Temple of Silence goes even deeper than yours.
I suspect so too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation. And whenever the conversation turns to Hermanubis and the concept of spirit indwelling, He avoids going into any depth.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am aware. And I have accepted it. Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route, so I might as well...
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not, so the best option...
Fair enough. Then at least let me buy you a drink once we're back in the city.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here can tell us.
Hello.
Mahamatra Sino?
I'm looking for someone. So I'd like to confirm any recent foot traffic in and out of Aru Village.
A man matching that description passed by Aru Village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food and water and feed his sumpter beast. Then he was on his way.
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed somewhere near an oasis, but he didn't mention which one. Do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to any nearby oases.
I have one. Mark away.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much. You were a great help.
You've got a really good memory.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Just doing my job. Best of luck. I hope you find him soon.
Hold on.
Do you think it's safe to ask them what they know?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Sino go talk to them? What the...
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here.
Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these...
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give...
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes, and he's traveling alone.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around here.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh.
Your friend over there stands out a lot, too. Hey, aren't you Sino, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one one looking for the old...
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us asking for help. Do you want it or not?
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I was mistaken.
Your henchmen don't look like much, but something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey! Hear that, guys? You're my henchman now.
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already.
Come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? Silver-haired, long-robed, culture type with thoughtful eyes? Sounds like there's a whole other side to Cyrus I didn't know about.
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. I'll take you to him. And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing here.
Please step back.
Whoa, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, so...
Is this...
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Oh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the...
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't...
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath. All right. You can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended?
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they were obviously counting on us showing up.
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest.
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was so... My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions.
So we're free to explore by ourselves.
Yep. I mean, Cyrus is here. And unless I've missed...
He's right. Well, if we've got some time, we might as well take a look around.
Hey, Sethos! Have you got some time to chat?
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? I don't blame you. Anyway, not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke the law. So, I told him that Cyrus...
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did not...
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had uncovered... Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told. And not much of an original thinker, though. It doesn't surprise me that he struggles academically.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received...
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things all you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. And it was his own choice to... What kind of question is that? He's the General
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure, or you wouldn't have asked him. So, what we're really asking is...
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say... I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not being straight?
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to. Nope, not once.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, we're well aware of what goes on at that place. Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's free to walk in. Mm-hmm.
I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this. We've passed through these parts before.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident that the professor is safe and sound. So that's something.
Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you...
Ah!
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus owes me his life. And to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go along.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag. Just leave, Sino. This is a...
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning.
Some things in life catch up with you. No matter what you...
Sino didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. to rescue you.
My secrets are secret for good reason.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deed. You recognized our emblem because you knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us and joined us in our mission to revive the might of... But then, you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
Bamoon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, it was a great, daring plan, one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, Bamoon offered his own adoptive grandson. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were treasures. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. I have always wanted to see you, Sino. Losing you and your...
I see.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And Now you are seeking justice, but you cannot lift a finger against Sino. He is the General Mahamatra!
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Sino, but you've met us all before. You and he.
You'd like...
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to
That power is not yours to reclaim.
You are wrong. Sino was chosen, but he was not the only one.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand it?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean little given that you turned your back on us long ago.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea.
Don't listen to him, son.
I know. But if this is a question...
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still... Say that Sino refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest.
Wait, those ears. So, we have a descent. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day, we...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
Pamoon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what... I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy, but I see things a little differently. I don't believe the Temple has the same, so I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave.
You have courage in what... I truly wish that the Temple would take an objective look at the and things will only continue to improve.
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to
Tainari made a good point earlier. He said there has... All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for it. Ultimately, you want to
I'm glad to see you're giving it some
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later.
That works. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things.
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight.
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Sino. If you need any help working things out, just come and find us.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it, the power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way.
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already know.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on...
Yeah.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. So tell me how we can end this on your terms.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that...
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decisions.
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently than the people we inherited it from. I accept, Sino. This all began because of Hermanubis. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many fine people. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our founding rights, the right of duels. It's where it all began.
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in this rite, along with your chosen companions.
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity.
None needed. If I win, the Temple of Silence must if you win.
It's a deal. Then let...
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra and for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as its rightful owner.
Both as General Mahamatra and for myself. Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself. Not everyone could have done that.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. It's just as Dia said. Prejudice has pushed people apart. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamun cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Sethos is any kind of villain. He's just doing what he thinks is best.
All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging.
gather on this day to perform once more. This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no representing.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather.
Representing the Academia.
Ready. We will fight to—
Warriors, take your positions. We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeated duelists. Duelists!
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. He's very strong. Sending him out—
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with them or Paimon will make you regret it!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Scatter! A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists of the second bout to please step forward. When you're both ready, you may begin.
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
One with the force.
Thus ends the second bout.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the... When you're both...
I am Sethos. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power. Now, I will fight to become...
I am Sino, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of... And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel.
Everyone. Old. My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known to be a ruler, but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew up, times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier. Then I thought of you, Sino. You and I, each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes us so different from one another.
I am more than just a warrior. I am my own.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both. So show me your answer, Sino. Show me I can be more than my faith. More... Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer? Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tule-Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tynarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule-Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule-Tula Tynarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos. You'll get through this.
I know. I'll miss him.
I guess you were prepared for this. It's been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah, he's been on death's door for... At least, he was able to see this chapter come to a close.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanubis.
But that's never going to work. As I'm sure you realize, I did foresee this possibility and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and Sethos. I believe were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Bamun never meant for anyone but you to be his successor.
You really think so?
I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamun looked very surprised by the final result.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamun as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I, and I have complete faith that you will be an excellent leader. Just think of it as doing me a favor.
But doesn't that render everything that we've been through up to now?
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to... That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said it.
I will try. To be honest, I couldn't have asked for a better...
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamun's intentions from the very beginning was that way. No matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment. Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled its strength. And were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the leader of the temple, much less integrate the temple into the academia by force. He knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his successor would be free from the burden. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the academia. With one single letter, he lured out...
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these. You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. Thank you for everything, Sino. As a gesture of our gratitude, the Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civilization, more than any other organization in existence today. In times when you need information that only we can provide, we will be here to support you. But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates, lest you lead humanity to repeat the same mistakes. By the way, Tainari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca Shuna. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tainarians and appointed him as his familiar. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tainarian companions. They always stood by each other, from the founding of the Temple of Silence to the fall of Tuletula. The Tainarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, when some of the group returned to the desert, many of the Tainarians chose to stay and put down roots in the rainforest. In all likelihood, those were your—
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after—
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone seen Cyrus?
Yes, Cyrus. You'll probably find him in my grandfather's room. He wouldn't show it in front of me, but I think he still has many fond memories.
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything—
Who knows? Perhaps all of us.
Someone's got to make the decision. I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, please come and visit the rainforest again. You should stay for a few days this time, and start to— If we're going to work together, both sides have to get to know one another better.
I will. All right, well, bye.
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
What were you thinking, gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to, designated nobody to handle your affairs, and left everyone scrambling frantically to try and figure out how on earth to clean up the colossal mess you'd made.
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the only idea you could conjure up in that white-haired walnut of yours was to shoot off into the unknown like some hot-headed 20-year-old adventurer? A one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba Moon didn't finish you off when you arrived.
All right, all right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's like you wish you'd been there to lend him a hand. Does it mean nothing to you that I'm your colleague and former classmate?
I've got nothing more to—
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and blood hero who, despite his old age, saved our General Mahamatra from being stripped of his powers. Okay, look. Fine, I admitted I was in the wrong. How can I make it up to you? What about, a month's work at the Academia?
1 month? Try 3.
Inari's master is really laying into Cyrus. Let's give them a wide berth.
Professor brought this on himself. Don't pay any attention to him.
Wow, I haven't seen Master get— The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when I was still a student.
I think I'll go around and update everyone, tell them the situation's resolved. Want to come with me? We can go for dinner afterwards. My treat. You in?
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too! Let's go!
What a find! I wonder how much.
Hey, Kale.
You're back!
Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days? I heard you all ran off into the desert and got embroiled in a major catastrophe.
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yes, and you too. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block.
Now would not be a good time.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved.
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. Say, Madame Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset.
Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also, check out Farazan acting like...
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What?
What do you mean, cup?
Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tainari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become...
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. 2 people left. Let's bring them along, too. Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in diligent studying?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look, there's a whole mountain of them.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway.
My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather swiftly and painlessly. And the outcome was better than we could have hoped for.
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation. It explains how they managed to remain...
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents as well. I'd love to go check those out if I ever had the chance.
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely important organization, and we'll be sure to maintain good relations with them in the future. Now, as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to treat everyone to coffee.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. Although after the last few days, I don't know if I can handle another coffee. But I can just order something else.
Sure. Let's go.
Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out cold. Then there was Tainari. He put up an amazing fight, too. We ended up winning all 3 bouts.
Whoa! Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it.
A truly edifying account of the events. Bereft of detail, but it has livened up the room all the same.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position of leader to him.
Of course. Being dignified comes with...
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before.
Yeah! Huge place! It felt like something right out of an epic poem! Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon. Dessert's here.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading?
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes. So, I gotta dash too.
Kali's come a long way. She's much more confident at dealing with it.
Everyone's a work in progress, you know?
Yeah, true.
That was good. It feels like everything's finally... Life is all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after...
Do you 3 have anything planned for the... If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now.
Okay. I think I can guess what you're talking about.
Well, now Paimon's...
Wouldn't gliding be faster?
Been a while since I last made my way up. Need any help?
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so happy...
Traveler. Turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere I only bring my best friends. When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course.
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework.
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through my fingers again.
Those were good times. I kinda miss the student life.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Sino doing something like that, but for some strange reason, the mental image...
Then make it... You guys carry...
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not supposed...
Surrender! Oh my days. I can't believe how stupid I look in this one.
Professor, what are you muttering to yourself about?
Sino. Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I found in some old notebooks?
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of odds and ends in the sage's office. I must have forgotten to take it with me, and no one's touched it since. It was still right there. I was at the Academia earlier to discuss my workload with Nephis. I swung by the old office to have a look. Oh, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture. Still a kid.
You look quite young yourself in that one. Ah, it's this one. I remember that. Lisa took it, didn't she?
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have found just the right angle to make me look so unbelievably hideous?
And this one. Looks like we're both dozing off.
Oh, cheeky girl. Taking secret photos of us without our knowledge.
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like, these are good photos, aren't they? Hey, at moments like this, I can't pretend I'm a good person. But Moon had every reason to despise me. And well, so do you if you feel the same way.
Don't be ridiculous, you old codger.
Is that not what you wanted me to say? Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the desert. Oh, it was... You've matured so much over the years, I know.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-ant...
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? I thought heroes were supposed to be gracious. Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa strikes again.
Look how cute you were when you were little.
Yeah, and look how serious and
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore.
Don't...
Hey, what would you say to meeting up with Lisa again sometime?
I'd like that. Let's find a time and pay her a visit in Mondstadt.
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Let's go next week. Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have...
Or you could find a real hop.